Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be talking about skincare mistakes when it comes to layering skincare products in your skincare routine. The correct layering of skincare products is an area of much confusion, causes a lot of unnecessary undue anxiety. There are so many skincare products on the market. Every day, blink your eyes, 200 new skincare products are launched. And they all go by these different names that suggest that they all have different purposes and that they should all be used in a very strategic way, and that, if you don't do it, then you're wasting time with it and that you've messed it up. It really can lead to almost catastrophic thinking. Take a deep breath. There's a 99.9% chance that the skincare products you are using, the way you are applying them, is just fine, and that the ingredients you're using are making their way in. There are only a few situations where I would caution you away from certain layering habits, but by and large, there's really not a right or wrong way to do things that we have generally established. It's true that skincare products and different skincare ingredients can certainly influence the absorption of other products and other ingredients. And while there's a chance that the order in which you layer skincare products can make a difference in terms of the results that you see, good or bad, you have to understand that there is really not much research, if any, to really say for sure how layering different products and different ingredients impacts results. If it negates results, don't beat yourself up too much if you're not sure the right order to layer things. Like I said, by and large, there's probably not a true wrong way in most cases. How plausible is it for anyone to predict how any given product or sets of ingredients is going to perform on someone's skin? We have so many new products every single day with different combinations of ingredients, and no one's out there doing clinical trials comparing how layering different products in different orders impacts and influences the ultimate results that the individual gets. So we have to use a best guess estimate as to the best approach for layering skincare products. A lot of things are going to impact to what extent any given ingredient or product formulation absorbs into your skin. The first is the product formulation overall. Certain ingredients are going to enhance penetration of some ingredients, whereas other ingredients may slow or limit penetration of other ingredients. Then you have to factor in the location with which you are applying said product. Eyelid skin is much thinner than, say, the skin on the back. So products that go around the eyes may not be very effective on your back, regardless of formulation. Skincare products applied anywhere where you have skin-on-skin contact, under the arms, in the skin folds, under the breast, in the inner thigh area, the groin area. Those locations, you're gonna have enhanced penetration because of occlusion. Anytime you have skin-on-skin contact, it's going to enhance penetration of things. Those locations tend to be sweaty. They collect moisture. Moisture drives more penetration. The other factor is your age. With age, our skin thins, more prone to irritation. Baby skin, the skin barrier is still maturing. It's a lot more vulnerable to irritation. Then you have to factor in the state of the skin barrier. A lot of people end up developing irritation because they're using too many skincare products that ends up weakening the barrier function. They lose water readily, and that enhances penetration of things that are irritating. Their skin becomes hyper irritable. This is called status cosmeticus. And you have to factor in any underlying skin conditions like acne, atopic dermatitis, rosacea. Skin disorders can influence how an individual's skin responds to a given product or sets of ingredients, and it's going to vary from person to person. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. You generally hear the advice to layer things from thinnest to thickest, and I do think that that is a good approach. There's nothing wrong with that approach, but if you put on something a little bit thicker and then put something on a little bit thinner in consistency, does that mean that that thinner serum or lotion is not getting in and that it's been blocked out completely? No, it's very unlikely. When you think about skincare products, a lot of them will have types of ingredients known as occlusives. These are most often found in moisturizers and ointments, but they can be found in serums as well. They seal in moisture, they trap in water, they reduce what's called transepidermal water loss. Common occlusive ingredients that you'll run into in skincare products include petrolatum, mineral oil, silicones, especially dimethicone. While occlusive ingredients can limit and or reduce penetration of other ingredients, it's not always the case. face. For example, you can have a lotion with dimethicone in it, and you can layer things on top of it and have good penetration, no problem. Formulation matters in terms of how you layer products with dimethicone or any occlusive. And this can be kind of tricky for you as a consumer to navigate. So this is one area where you might definitely want to rethink things. Fine to use a moisturizer that has dimethicone or petrolatum in it and then apply something on over it. But pay attention to how the product is marketed. If you have a product that is marketed as a cream or a lotion, there's a good chance that you're fine to apply it and then apply things over it. While the things you apply over may penetrate more slowly, ultimately they will get in. It's not the end of the world. However, where you want to be careful is if a product is marketed as a barrier cream, if a product is marketed as an ointment, if a product is marketed as a skin protectant, these products likely have more of the occlusive ingredient because, again, they're intended as a skin protectant to really create a barrier there. Because of that, you can run into the issue where things that you put on top may not be penetrating. In other words, here's a mistake you don't want to make. You don't want to take Vaseline, which is 100% petrolatum, put it all over your face. That's called slugging commonly. You don't want to do that and then apply something on over it expecting it to get in. 100% petrolatum is one of the best occlusives out there in terms of limiting penetration. You can use that to your advantage actually, in that if you are using a skincare product and you want to avoid it getting near your eyelids, you can put a little 100% petrolatum around the eyelids. Water-resistant sunscreens also form a watertight seal on the skin, so it's unlikely that things are going to penetrate over it. But when it comes to layering things with sunscreen, you don't want to layer any skincare product over sunscreen regardless of if it's water resistant or not. Sunscreen should always be the last step in your morning skincare routine. You don't want to put products on over sunscreen because it can disrupt the sunscreen's protective ability. So that's another mistake you don't want to make. So far we have two like blatantly obvious major mistakes in layering skincare. Trying to put products over a barrier cream or ointment, or trying to put products over sunscreen, whether it be water resistant or not. The other major mistake when it comes to layering products is you do not want to mix products together before you put them on. For example, if you have a sunscreen, you don't like the way it looks, it's too white, you don't want to put tinted moisturizer into that in an attempt to dilute out the whiteness, because what will happen is it can impact how the active sunscreen ingredients set up on the skin. So that's a no-no. It really can alter the final formulation of the sunscreen. The second issue that you can run into with mixing things is, say for example, you want to mix in tretinoin into your moisturizer to make it less irritating. What that's actually going to do is lead to patchy application, and you can get what are called hot spots, areas where they're like tretinoin crystals because it's not compatible with your moisturizer, and they're too concentrated in some locations, too dilute in other areas. So you get these little hot spots of irritation in other areas where you aren't getting any tretinoin. So don't mix things together before putting them on. Likewise, a lot of people talk about adding a few drops of their serum to a moisturizer, but you can run into that same issue. Serum is a bit more of a nebulous marketing term in that a lot of things call themselves serum, and there's a lot of heterogeneity out there in terms of what is labeled as a serum. But say for example, you have a peptide serum, just dropping a few drops of it into your moisturizer, you may not get very good distribution on the skin surface doing that. And again, you could get areas where it's just not going there, and in other areas where you have maybe too much. So it's just not an efficient way to use a serum. The other situation that you want to be careful of when it comes to layering is that you don't want to be using too much product, because if you use large globs of product, it can go on in a way where the next layer ends up not setting up well. It's patchy, you get something that we call pilling. This is especially true if you are using products that are in gels. What comes to mind with this in particular is tretinoin gel. Tretinoin gel, which is a prescription, if you use too much, it will pill up and flake off, and it'll be very difficult to put anything on over it. So make sure you're only using a small amount. As a side note, I have a whole video talking about the differences between tretinoin gel and tretinoin cream, so check that one out. Are there any types of products that you should not layer together? There really is no hard and fast rule about this, but some things to keep in mind when you are introducing new products into your routine is that certain ingredients can enhance penetration of things and make it more likely that they are irritating for you. For you, maybe not for someone else. So to say I never, ever do this is not quite correct. So for example, some products that have a lot of humectants or more water-based, they can enhance penetration of ingredients like, for example, alpha hydroxy acids may have better penetration in the presence of hyaluronic acid. That can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, depending on your skin and how your skin reacts. Hydroxy acids can be irritating for some people, so just bear that in mind. One of the main products that you want to avoid layering with other things is benzoyl peroxide. There are cases where it's fine to use benzoyl peroxide with other ingredients. For example, benzoyl peroxide can safely be used with adapalene. But if you're using certain types of tretinoin, namely just plain tretinoin, it can actually compromise the stability of tretinoin. Now, nowadays, in 2023, we have newer formulations of tretinoin that are actually stable in the presence of benzoyl peroxide, so not to confuse you any further, but it is possible, depending on the retinoid or the retinol, in the case of the over-the-counter stuff, you may end up getting compromised product if you're using it along with benzoyl peroxide. You also want to be careful with using benzoyl peroxide and like your antioxidants. It may interfere with their stability. Check out my video on skincare ingredients not to mix. We kind of go over some of these at length in that video. All right, y'all, so those are some tips, major things to avoid in layering your skincare and your skincare routine, but don't overthink it. There's a good chance that you're doing just fine with whatever you're doing. For example, I'm going to leave you with 3 possible scenarios here. Best order of products. We've got 3 products, a serum, a cream, and we have tretinoin cream. What is the best order? Are you going to do serum, then cream, then tretinoin? Are you going to do serum, tretinoin, and then cream? Or are you going to do tretinoin, serum, and then face cream? What's the right answer? No right answer. Truthfully, you could do any of these. The outcome of doing any of these approaches may vary depending on the products that you're using and you, the individual, what your skin tolerates, but there's truly no wrong way. For example, you might choose to put on your tretinoin first. And some people tolerate that just fine, but for other people, it's too irritating doing it that way. They find that it's much better to put on a moisturizer first, or their serum is more hydrating, so they put that on first, then they put moisturizer to really reduce water loss, and then they put tretinoin. The tretinoin will absorb. Again, as long as you're not putting a sheet of Vaseline on your face or a sheet of, skin protectant, that tretinoin is likely going to get in just fine. Research studies and clinical experience support that. Some people like to do something called a sandwich technique with tretinoin, where they put on moisturizer, then tretinoin, then moisturizer. That's one way to do it. You could consider a serum as part of that sandwich technique, because a lot of serums are very hydrating and moisturizing, so you could do serum, tretinoin, moisturizer if you wanted to. The main mistake that you could make would be to put petrolatum all over your face and then try and put tretinoin on, probably not getting in. All right, y'all, those are my tips. I hope this video was helpful to you. Now on the end slate, I'm going to link my recent video all about tretinoin cream versus gel, so check that one out if you missed it. But if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.